report that we want to give you that can be easily understood by everyone living in Windsor, Essex. And that is the distinguishing factor with vital signs. It needs to be readable and it needs to be concise. When we published our first vital signs report last year, and by the way, we have some copies available here, plus our annual report as well. When we published Vital Signs Year 1, we encouraged people to respond to us with their thoughts about what the community issues are. And for this year's Vital Signs Report, Year 2, we are expanding that feedback process by posting an online survey for people in Windsor, Essex to fill out. The survey is based on our 10 key indicators areas and is straightforward and should take 5 to 10 minutes to fill out. 5 minutes if you don't use the write-in boxes, 10 minutes if you take a little bit of time to add some more detail to your comments. So we're really excited about it. One of the strengths of the Vital Signs program is that community foundations across Canada who participate yearly, and we have about 25 of those, they take and share best practices with us. And so the Community Foundation in Windsor is grateful for the support of our sister community foundation in Calgary, the Calgary Community Foundation, because they shared their online survey format and content with us. And we also checked with a few other organizations, including Pathway for Potential, and we welcome you here this morning. You shared with us who your survey provider was as well. So we thank you for the cooperation that happens. One final thought before I turn the podium over to Robin Easterbrook, our Vital Signs Program Manager. And the final thought is this. Vital Signs is a program that has potential to grow. We know that it has that potential because we have seen it grow in other communities across Canada that use Vital Signs, and specifically in Toronto, where it has been there for about 10 years. This year, we have added Vital Signs survey, the community survey component, and I look forward to adding some Vital Signs conference ideas that Toronto has been able to do, the Vital Ideas Conference, the Vital Projects Conference, and the Vital Grants components, and those we're hoping to roll out in the next couple of years so that Vital Signs really maximizes the potential that it has for it. So, Robin, you're going to come up and briefly, keyword briefly, show us how to get online to take that survey. By the way, not that we're into bribing, but as you take the survey, and we hope you do before you leave today, there is coffee and muffins, and you can eat as many as you can in the next 10 minutes.
Thanks very much, Glenn. It's a particular pleasure for me to be here today because although they call me the Vital Signs Program Manager, basically I'm the statistician. I'm the guy that gets to go through all the numbers from StatsCan and all the survey data that we'll be collecting and so on. So to get out of the back room is a good thing for me. What I want to tell you about Vital Signs, the survey, is some of you may have been here last year when we introduced the community to the Vital Signs report. It was basically structured around StatsCan data, and what we did was look at it from the perspective of what adds quality of life to our community. And from there, we created the Vital Signs report for last year. But the component that we were really missing was the concept of how does the community perceive itself. There's a number of different aspects to what we could consider quality of life in our community. A sustainable environment, mobility in the community, health and wellness, lifelong learning, access to affordable housing, arts, culture, and recreation, just to name a few. But as much as we can analyze the statistics for that, the component that was missing was how does the community view itself for those components. And that's what we're trying to get at with launching this survey at this point in time this year. We're going to figure out, hopefully get a good response from the community about how they view affordable housing in Windsor and Essex County. How do they view transportation and mobility issues? How do they view arts, culture, and recreation? Because that's totally different than just the numbers of Statistics Canada. And it's been a very useful exercise for those other communities across Canada that have engaged in this survey activity up front. So we're very pleased to be working with the Windsor Star as a partner on getting the survey out to the community. And what you see on the screen here or over on the other side, I think there's some up back there in the corner, that's what it will look like when you go to the survey. The Windsor Star is providing us with both a link from their website and an overlay on their website that will take you to the screen that's up in front of you right now. There will also be opportunities to go to that survey website from the WindsorEssex Community Foundation website or through our Facebook page. There will be a number of opportunities to access that. What we're also hoping is that when you finish the survey, you're going to have an opportunity to put in the email addresses of friends of yours that you think might be interested in doing the survey, or it will also allow you to post it to your Facebook page. So by having a bit of a viral component to this, we're hoping that we can really gather quite a large community response. Now, there's been a lot of surveys going on in this city over the last little while, and most of those are targeted towards very specific questions or very specific components of quality of life here in Windsor. We think ours is unique in that it covers a wide range of components, and we are basically a neutral agency. We are a grant funding activity, but those grants are given out to a wide variety of community organizations. So hopefully that creates a little different perspective from our survey. Maybe if we could just run through some of the components. What you're going to find is that this is Glenn said you can run through it in 5 minutes if you don't put in text stuff. Yeah, probably 5, depending on how fast you read. It might stretch to 10. Thing is, I had my son take the survey. He took over half an hour because he couldn't stop writing stuff in the text boxes. He had to just put a comment in on everything, and some of them quite long comments. But that's great. We're going to read all of those comments. We're going to make them part of the report that we produce, and hopefully it's going to create community dialogue. That's really one of the strong portions of this, is creating community dialogue. The Vital Signs report that we released last year was an opportunity for creating community dialogue, and with the added component of the survey this year, we think it creates even more opportunity for community dialogue. Unfortunately, that dialogue comes too late for the provincial election, but we have a municipal election coming up too, and when we understand how people view housing, how they view transportation, how they view health and wellness in Windsor and in Essex County, it creates all kinds of potential for engaging our political side in how they interpret that and what they're going to be doing about the people's perceptions and interests. So the survey is structured with 4 demographic questions. We don't want to know where you live or what your name is. It's completely anonymous. Even if you fill out the end of the survey where it allows you to forward it to friends, none of that data is received or stored in our database. It's just transparent. So it's totally anonymous what you're responding to us. But the 4 demographic questions are just centered around your age, your gender, and actually there's only 3 demographic questions. The other one, and I'm not sure this qualifies as demographic, is we're asking for the first 3 digits of your postal code. That will allow us to take the survey data and say, oh, well, this person lives in downtown Windsor. We won't know where in downtown Windsor, but we'll at least be able to identify that. We'll know that this person lives in Leamington, or this one in Amherstburg, or this one in Tecumseh, or this one in Riverside, because the postal codes will allow us to structure things that way. And that's really valuable to see if there's a lot of consistency across Windsor and Essex County, or whether there's very diverse concerns and perceptions around Windsor and Essex County. So other than those couple of demographic questions, you're going to see a very similar structure. You will see, and I'll point this out, there's a little slider bar that just asks you to rate how you think we rank on a particular question. In this case, it's how would you grade Windsor and Essex County when it comes to strong neighborhoods, a sense of community, connectedness, and local leadership. So you can score us anywhere from 0 to 100. And it's just a matter of sliding that slider across. Very easy to do. The second common component is that there's going to be a question about ranking your top 3 concerns for that same initiative or that same vital sign. In this case, neighborhoods and leadership. So it will allow you to just click on the button, and it'll only allow you to take 3 choices. It ranges from, I think, a low of 7 potential choices to a high of about 11 potential choices. You pick the 3 that apply to you. And then after that, there's also an opportunity to put in free-form text. So if you've got a half hour to spend and put in all kinds of comments on what you think is relevant about our neighborhoods and our local leadership, then that's the place to do it. I think it's user-friendly. It should be accessible to you either through your computer, desktop, laptop. It should be accessible to you through tablets, through any of your mobile devices. I think depending on the version of Android that you're running, there may be a couple of issues, but I hope that we've worked those out. But otherwise, there shouldn't be anything stopping you from doing it from a mobile device. We have several tablets here. If you would like, if you don't have one with you, don't have a cell phone with you. Who doesn't have a cell phone with them these days? But if you don't, please feel free to borrow one of ours for the time being and run through that and do it while you're here so that you get a good sense of how it operates. I'll be available to answer questions if you have any. And other than that, I look forward to really seeing what Windsor and Essex County thinks about our vital signs for quality of life in the area. And I think it's going to be very, very interesting. And again, it's going to create, I hope, a real strong impetus for dialogue, both amongst the citizens and amongst the people and the politicians. So thank you very much, and get your responses in.
Thanks, Robin. I also want to thank Marty Benetto and Bev Becker for all their help today, along with the support of the Windsor Star and all the media that are here today. Thank you very much.